how a simple yoga routine significantly improved my athletic performance. So in this video, I'm going to discuss, nothing fancy, no Kundalini awakening, complicated breath works or anything, and a very simple practice, but dramatically and significantly improved athletic performance where, I generally can outperform, people who are very dedicated in the exercise routines, much younger than me, in decades younger than me, right? One person, he was taking all the supplements, working out with very extreme weights, right? And he was 19 years old, an amazing body, and he could not beat me in a plank, right? He couldn't believe, and I was 50 years old at the time. Means 30 years, 3 decades older than him, right? And this is a common thing, right? There was another guy who was like, I will describe all these things, further in this video. So please, if you like the contents of my channel, please also remember to like and subscribe to it, because this is going to greatly improve my channel to be able to reach out to more people. And for those who don't know me, I am Osman. I'm a bio-energy healer on a master level with telepathic healing capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, and also a host of other physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments, especially alleviating the adverse effects of involuntary Kundalini awakening. I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practicing this art form for almost 50 years and teaching for 44 years. And in that period, I studied under various masters from different schools of thought and cultures, and from Western cultures, all types of, not only the yoga field, in spirituality and fitness, and created my own unique protocols uh, with the view to simplifying it, making it shorter, easier, faster, quicker, more effective results, quicker results, right? Adapted for the 21st century. And to that end, I now have students in over 100 countries. And my favorite protocol is a 5-minute yoga and meditation program, which you can download for free from my website, yogawellness786.com, where you can also get more information on my other services. And you can download this free protocol in return for your subscribing to my blog, right? And of course, my blogs are all value added, and it's much better than my YouTube thing, because I'm able to plan it better and so forth. But my channels are just being spoken off the cuff, from my personal perspective, without bringing other major scientific, verification data, from journal articles and so forth. So there I've got time to do all that. And the videos, I like to keep it, authentic and just a conversation, like I'm having a conversation with my friend. And I hope you all are my friends, right? So also remember, my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. Coming back to a very simple yoga protocol. So let me explain. So I am in athletic performance level from a childhood, I would say not even below average, right? So in primary school, I could not even be selected, for any sports team because I was not fast enough, right? If I'm going to run in a race, I'm usually coming out last, and they're going to regret, choosing me to represent them, their team or something. And in football and so forth, I was just not good at that, right? And I was good, at maybe studying, but not also academically weak, right, in primary school. But there was a guy in my school. Now I'm in primary school, right? This guy is number one athlete, not only in the school, he had provincial colors, right? Means he took inter-school competitions in the province, and he was winning and winning trophies. He was really fast and amazing, right? So we used to go to martial arts together as well, and we used to walk home because his home was on the way to my home as well, right? So so he attended for a while, and it was from where we were going for martial arts to where my house was. It was probably three, 2 or 3 kilometer, up incline, right, all the way up. So we said, let's run because he is very fast, and it's okay, let's run. And we sprinted, and we reached my home, and I was almost neck and neck with him. And he said, I was afraid you're going to beat me. Amazing. You're so fast. And I dismissed it. But then now when I reflect, now you must know I can't even come, I'm coming out last normally, right? And now when I reflect, the only difference was that I used to practice yoga, right? And I had been practicing yoga now for about more than 2 or 3 years, more than 2 years by that time, right? When we sprinted up. And I never really thought much about it until, when I reached the age of 50 and, focusing on, mainly my main focus was on Hatha Yoga all the time. Yes, I did meditation a lot in between, and I got enlightenment level, Samadhi level experience and all that, from a young age and so forth. But my main was like I wanted to live like a normal person, right? And I didn't want to go too much into meditation because when you become, immersed in Samadhi and you become abnormal and you can't mix with society, you can't be a normal person anymore, right? I wanted to live a normal life. I had a wife and I had children and I had a business to run, right? I didn't want to become like intoxicated in madness, right? In a madness of, ecstasy and so forth. And so, the other occasion, as I mentioned, there was a 19-year-old guy who's amazing body, very heavy weights. I can't even imagine to lift that type of weights, right? And he works out on a very regular basis. And I was just doing yoga practice and so forth, right? And I said, I'll challenge him. Actually, other people noticed that, they wanted to know what's the difference between yoga and, fitness. And of course, I also do fitness as well, right? But at that time, I was doing body weight fitness. But when I was doing fitness, they used to see, I was better than most of the people. We were working out in a group. I was the oldest person. There were people in the 20s and 30s, and I seemed to be doing, the more crunches than them and more squats than them easily. They were struggling, right? And they couldn't do so many leg lifts and me. So they wanted, because that guy was really, pumped up. So they said, oh, we want to see the challenge, right? And see how good it is. So I said, okay, let's do a challenge on plank, overall, fitness, overall body strength and so forth. He said, no, it's not. He said, okay, let's go for it. We'll just do a 5 minute. Let's see. And then I said, okay, first you go. And once you fail, and if I can beat that, then we'll call me. He said, okay, done. So he went first and he went to failure. It took him about 5 minutes, I think, which is reasonably long because a normal person can do just a few seconds, right? And then someone, average people who's little reasonably fit can do about a minute, right? You have to really practice plank, and neither me nor him practice plank, right? Dedicate those who practice it, of course, they go into, I think the record is 8 hours and so forth, right? This crazy levels, right? But we're talking about normal, fitness levels. So reaching 5 minutes is very good, right? And then I went, and it was more than 5 minutes, going to 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Okay, 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 I take loose. He was convinced, and he couldn't believe the astonishment in his eyes, wide open. And I mean, as you can see in the video, I look like a regular person. I don't look like, Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything, right? Um, but believe me, I'm, quite strong. So another case was another guy. He was very fitness oriented. He was a youngish guy. He was in his, early 30s and very into, sport and fitness and working out. And, he's always doing his push-ups and his squats and jogging, and always like exercise was very important to him, and very well built as well. And then I used to practice my crunches and so forth, and normally I do like my leg lifts. And then they were doing leg lifts, and I see they struggling to do 50. So what do you mean you're struggling to do? Why are you struggling? You're such a fit person, And the same person, he was like struggling. He said, ooh, reaching 50. I said, must do at least 200. So what you talking about? I cannot do 200. Can you? I said, of course I do 200. That's what I do. Minimum 200 reps, of leg lifts in a set. He said, okay, do it, prove it. I just went out, I did boom, boom, boom. When I reached like 150, he said, no, no, stop, stop, stop. You don't have to do it. You don't have to reach to 100. I'm convinced, right? Of course, I finished that 200. And normally in my crunches, right, my stomach workouts, I do 5 variations of crunches. So normally I do 5,000 crunches, right? So how I do, it sounds like a big number, is I do the normal crunch, right? 200 of that, and then immediately without any break, I do uh, 200 alternate crunches, bringing my left elbow to my right knee, and the right elbow, to the left knee. 200 of that, and then I do 200 side crunches, and then I do 200 leg lifts, and then I do 200 reverse crunches. Right? I'm going to all that, and that is one set. And then I do 5 sets of that, and then I do 1,000 squats. So I do 200 squats, and then the 1,000 crunches, like 5 sets of the 200 alternate, and then I do 500 push-ups, right? So this I feel is like the thing, because I'm only doing five different types of push-ups, 20 of each, right? In a row, that's one set, that's 100. So I do like the normal push-up 20, and then the diamond push-ups 20, and then the wide arm push-ups 20, and then the shorties 20, and then the pipe push-ups 20, right? So that is 100. That is one set, right? So I work out, but the only difference is I'm doing yoga. So, and yoga really brings my strength up. So another example, and just doing simple yoga. So when I say simple yoga, I mean you can download my free 5 minute yoga and meditation program, 5 minutes a day, right? Yoga and meditation program from my website, yogawellness786.com. Just start by practicing that, only those three postures, right? There are there and 2 minute meditation, and slowly grow it, according to your, because you'll automatically increase in strength. So instead of holding a posture for 30 seconds, you can go up to 1 minute, 2 minutes, right? You don't have to hold more than 2 minutes and break for 2 minutes, right? So there's three postures. How it comes to 5 minutes, I do each posture 30 seconds each, right? 30 seconds for one posture and 30 seconds break. 30 seconds second posture, 30 seconds break. 30 seconds third posture, 30 seconds break. That is 3 minutes, right? And 2 minute meditation, right? And the secret of meditation is 2 minutes. You must not do long periods and frustrated. You're doing something counterintuitive to meditation, right? So just building on that and observe over a 2 year, 6 month period, 6 to 8 week period, then a 6 month period, and a 2 year period. If you're working out what's your max, right? Your failure, what's your failure point, right? And then see if your failure point is improving. Because if you're working out regularly, you'll know your failure point, right? And see in 6 to 8 weeks if it's improving, just with the 5 minute protocol. And in 6 months, see if there is some improvement. And in a 2 year, I am convinced you're going to find a dramatic, significant improvement, right? Just by simple yoga program, it is going to significantly improve your overall fitness strength. When you're doing a fitness exercise, it tremendously boosts that. So I'll give another story of, which I mentioned in other videos as well. I had a professional athlete, a professional boxer, was a professional boxer for 17 years from his very young age, right? And he was relatively young when I met him. So he must have started, in his early childhood, probably around 10 years or so, right? Because he was only around in his late 20s, when I met him, or maybe early 30s, right? But he looked amazing and fit. And he wanted a chakra and blocking session. And while I was at it, I taught him a pranayama technique. And I told him, just practice it, and he just spent about 10-15 minutes a day practicing the pranayama, right? That's all. And then he used to do sets of push-ups where he reaches, fatigue level, at about 120 push-ups. And when he takes a break before he do a next set of 120 push-ups, right? And he told me after 2 weeks, he called me, he said, you know what? I now can do 200 and I'm not even out of breath. Before at 120, I was out of breath. slightly out of breath. Now I'm doing 200, not even out of breath. It's so amazing. It's VO2, it's just doing 10, 15 minutes, of the protocol after the chakra unblocking, that I taught him. And this is like, it's like double the strength. And I never heard from him because he was always traveling and boxing. He probably got very busy winning many tournaments, right? Because improve your strength. Why I'm saying winning, as I said, I was practicing martial arts. Last story, right? Sorry to, maybe you're getting bored, but just bear with one last story. I feel it's important, to give you more and more evidences, right, on the power of yoga, simple yoga practice. And I wasn't, as a child, I was not doing, maybe later adult life, I'm doing something complicated, right? Now in my childhood, I was only doing mainly hatha yoga, right? And doing it at home casually. Yes, I was teaching it, taking it like a child's play, right? And not many complicated postures, just a few postures we were doing, right? And in martial arts, like, I was also doing. So I was in high school, we were around 15 years old, and I had very strong core. And I used to tell anyone, to punch me, and I feel nothing, right? So they can give the hardest punch what they can, all the might, the strongest person, among my friends to do it, and I feel nothing. It was like really amazing, And the bully of the school, he was a big size guy, and everyone was afraid of him. He said, "Oh, you're so strong, you this thing, you can punch me also." He felt he's going to lose his status as the bully of the school, right? And I was not a bully; I was a very passive person. But he felt embarrassed that he wants to prove that he's also strong like me. Everyone must, I must punch him. I said, "No, I don't want to do this, right?" He said, "No, no, no." So, okay, I said, "Okay, first punch me, then I'll punch you." Right? So he gave me everything he's got, right? And I was fine, as normal, right? I was fine. I was okay, not winded, nothing. And it's now my turn to punch him. And I gave him, I wouldn't say all I got, but I gave him a good solid punch, right? In his core. He turned, he was, a light complexion person, right? Which people will say there are white people and black people, and I don't believe there's white people. I haven't saw a black person or a white person. So dark complexion and light complexion people, right? So he was very light in complexion and like light brown hair and so forth. And he his face turned yellow in front of me, right? And he looked dreamy in his eye, and he just went down to the floor, and when he was knocked unconscious, and he started to writhe, like convulse, and froth was coming out of his mouth. Did I get a fright of my life? I said, I'm going to be taken to the principal's office. They're going to call the police, and I'm going to go into the black book, and maybe I'm going to go to jail, and maybe I was very worried. So I mean, all the other people came around him, and in a minute or two he recovered. And we used to have a long lunch. I think it was around 45-minute break, a long lunch break. And it was the beginning of the break. There was still 30 minutes left, I think, to the break. We had to go into the classroom and sit down for the rest of the break to recover. And we continued. And when we came back, he was like still a bit woozy, when we came. And, I apologized. I said, are you fine? I said, no, it was just a lucky punch and so forth. But the power, the difference is not I don't think I was so amazing or anything, right? It's just that I was practicing yoga. That was the difference, right? And it really improves. That's what made me to believe that yoga tremendously can improve your martial arts performance, your athletic performance, your fitness levels in your gym and so forth. Use it as a stretching sequence in the gym. How amazing is that idea, right? I mean, you have to do, warm up first. You always do warm up, then stretching. Don't stretch before warm up. You do a warm up, you can go on the cycle or the treadmill, do your warm up, and then do a stretching sequence. And then in the stretching sequence, do the yoga protocol, right? The three postures, or the seven most popular postures. I also got that. You can, purchase that set of videos, or you can go online and find your favorite postures, right? And do it for 5 minutes, 5 minute or 10 minute stretching sequence, and you're going to be amazing in the gym, with if you're someone who's regular in the gym. So over a long term period, medium to long term period, this is going to be good. You're going to be almost on the level of those who's using hormonal therapies, right? And looking like a regular guy, but a big guy that looked like a big Hulk, and you come and just easily pick up the weight, that he's struggling to pick up. See, I show you how it's done. Like how I did with this guy who was 30 years old, and I was 50 some odd years old, and the 19-year-old guy, and I'm 50 years old, right? It was like is I think to this day is amazed, right? You wouldn't be able to get over it. And so hope that information helps you. And sorry for going on and on. And take care of yourself always.